Noise has destroyed more dreams than failure. Every time you reveal what is not yet ready, you open the door to hands that should not touch it. Think of iron which, when exposed too much to air, rusts, not due to weakness, but due to constant exposure. So are words. When they are thrown out prematurely, they begin to wear down what was strong in silence. In ancient China, it was said that great rivers flow calmly because they keep their strength beneath the surface. Only noisy streams make a fuss as they descend. Goals and plans are like those rivers. If they truly have power, they do not need to make noise, they just need to move forward. But when you talk too much, you turn your river into a noisy stream. You attract the attention of looks that do not add up. You awaken envy. You open cracks for criticism and wear down the essence of what is just growing. Those who know how to be silent understand that silence is not emptiness or weakness. It is strategy. The words you do not say protect what you love to build. What you keep inside today is not cowardice, it is discipline. If you have wondered why sometimes projects stagnate or crumble for no apparent reason, look at how much you talked about them before they had roots. Perhaps it was not fate or bad luck, but noise. Speaking less and acting more is not a romantic suggestion. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to see real results. 1. The power of silence until it becomes reality. The fire that extinguishes the fastest is not always the one that lacks fuel, but the one that is exposed to the wind when it is just beginning to be born. The same happens with ideas and dreams. In their most fragile stage, a single comment from someone else, a disbelieving look, or a poorly given piece of advice can weaken them. That's why keeping silent until it becomes reality is not cowardice, it's protection. It's giving what matters the space to become strong, away from the noise and from hands that do not understand its value. In ancient China, there was a story about a young builder who dreamed of building a bridge capable of uniting two villages separated by a turbulent river. Every night he worked in silence, designing plans, choosing stones, observing the course of the river. But one day, excited by the progress, he began to tell others what he planned to do. Some laughed, others said it was impossible, and some gave him contradictory advice. Little by little, the young man stopped trusting his own calculations and began trying to please others' opinions. The bridge was never finished, not because he lacked skill, but because he let noise into his process. The lesson was clear. There are things that only grow when they are protected from early judgment. Silence is that refuge that prevents the immature from breaking due to others' curiosity. When you decide to keep silent until something becomes real, you are building an invisible wall that does not let criticism or envy pass, but also does not allow the ego to feed on premature praise. Many times we speak to feel validated, for others to recognize our effort, but that validation does not add strength. On the contrary, it steals the momentum that you should invest in continuing to work. Keeping silent until it becomes real is also an exercise in humility and discipline. You don't need to announce every step you take or seek constant approval. What should speak for you is the result, not the promises. In a world where everyone wants to show what they do before finishing it, learning to keep silent is an act of rebellion and power. It's choosing patience over haste, consistency over appearance. If you observe the most solid achievements of your life, you will notice that they grew in silence. You didn't share everything. You didn't seek applause along the way. You kept the essential for yourself and let it mature. What you consider a mistake today was probably exposed prematurely and became weak in the face of others' opinions. Words are like air. Once you let them go, there's no way to collect them, and each word opens a door to others' interpretation, which can become an obstacle. Practicing silence until it becomes real means learning to recognize what deserves to be shared and what doesn't. It's not about living in hiding or distrusting everyone, but respecting the process of what is still forming. It's like taking care of a fire in the middle of a storm. You cover it with your hands, you don't show it to the wind. There will be those who want to give their opinion, those who demand to know what you are doing, those who confuse your silence with weakness. But you must not forget that silence is also a language, one that says, "I am busy building." What you keep silent is not a secret. It's a pact with yourself not to give your energy to external voices that do not understand your purpose. Speaking less is conserving strength. Speaking only when necessary is taking care of your work. 2. Guard your plans like a treasure. An empty chest does not arouse interest, but a chest full of gold attracts glances, questions, and even hands trying to open it. Your plans are that treasure under construction, and every time you talk about them prematurely, you let others see the shine that is not yet ready to be shown. Protecting them does not mean hiding from the world. It means taking care of what has value so that it does not weaken or get lost due to carelessness. In ancient China, it was said that the wisest merchants did not show everything they had in the market. They saved the best for the exact moment because they knew that anticipation was part of their wealth. Your plans require the same care. If you share them with anyone, you take away their strength and expose them to opinions that can sow doubts. Not everyone who hears your goals wants to see you succeed. Some will criticize because they do not understand, others will envy because they cannot do it themselves, and a few will try to discourage you so that you do not progress. It's not about living with paranoia, but understanding that not everyone deserves access to what is still being born. To protect your plans like a treasure, the first thing is to learn to identify with whom you share your intentions. Ask yourself, does this person contribute something, guide me, motivate me, or just satisfy their curiosity? If the answer is not clear, remain silent. Your plans are not a spectacle or a shameful secret. They are something sacred that must be safeguarded until it can defend itself. The second piece of advice is to limit the words you use to describe what you're doing. Sometimes you don't need a long explanation or justify every step. Saying, "I'm working on something important," is enough. This not only protects your energy, it also prevents people from pressing with questions or making premature judgments. The less you explain, the less chance there is for someone to try to divert your focus. The third piece of advice is to set clear boundaries in conversations. There will be those who insist on knowing more than necessary, but you are not obligated to give details. Learning to say, "I prefer not to talk about that for now," is a way to take care of your mental peace. A boundary is not rudeness, it is self-care. Another essential point is to create a physical and mental space where only you have access to your ideas. This can be a notebook, a digital diary, or a simple notepad that you use only to jot down your goals and strategies. By writing it down for yourself, you reinforce your internal commitment without depending on external validation. Also, you reduce the temptation to share it with anyone. Silence should also be accompanied by action. It is useless to keep plans if you do not work on them consistently. Protect your time and energy as you protect your ideas. Set schedules to advance what you are looking for and avoid distractions stealing your momentum. This turns the act of protecting into something tangible. You not only shut your mouth, but you also close the door to what interferes with your progress. Finally, remember that a treasure does not need to be announced to have value. Your goal does not become bigger by being told, it becomes stronger by the effort you put into it. If you learn to take care of your plans as you would a precious asset, you will prevent other people's opinions from eroding them. Protected plans mature better, grow with less pressure, and present themselves to the world when they are already solid, not when they are still fragile. 3. Speak only when necessary. The edge of a sword wears out faster when used without purpose. Every time you wield it needlessly, it loses some of its strength. The same goes for words. The more you use them for meaningless things, the less impact they have when it really matters. Learning to speak only when necessary is not about being silent out of shyness. It's about preserving the sharpness of your voice for moments that deserve to be cut with precision. In everyday life, the impulse to speak can be treacherous. We want to have an opinion on everything, over-explain, justify our decisions, even fill awkward silences with empty words. But every sentence you release unnecessarily consumes energy and, worst of all, leaves you vulnerable to others' interpretations. When you speak unnecessarily, you give away pieces of yourself that others can use to judge you, criticize you, or distract you from your goal. Speaking less is learning to choose the battles that are worth it. To practice this, the first tip is to learn to recognize the intention behind each word you're going to say. Before speaking, ask yourself, does this contribute to the situation, solve a problem, or just seek to fill the space? If it serves no clear function, keep it. It will be hard at first because we are used to reacting, but with practice, you will discover that silence is more powerful than it seems. The second tip is to stop the need to explain everything. You don't always need to justify your actions or convince everyone that your reasons are valid. Sometimes it's enough to say just the right thing. I can't. Now is not the time, or I prefer to reserve my opinion. Speaking with few but firm words makes you appear more determined and confident. People respect those who do not overflow with explanations. Another essential aspect is to avoid the habit of responding impulsively. When someone provokes you or tries to drag you into an argument, silence can be your best defense. Each unnecessary response is like adding fuel to the fire of conflict. Practice pausing before answering, breathe, and consider whether it is really worth responding or if silence says more than any phrase. It's also important to limit conversations that revolve around gossip or complaints. These are words that build nothing and end up draining energy. By choosing not to participate in them, you not only protect your mental peace, but also show that your voice is not lent to feed the noise. Your time and energy are worth more than feeding pointless arguments. A practical tip to improve this discipline is to dedicate yourself to observing more than speaking. Listening attentively gives you an advantage. You understand others better, analyze situations clearly, and avoid making mistakes by rushing to give your opinion. Speaking less does not make you invisible. On the contrary, it makes you more perceptive and strategic. Also, learn to value the weight of words. When you decide to say something, make sure it is direct, useful, and respectful. Well-chosen words are like precision tools. They do the job without extra effort. On the other hand, empty words scatter without leaving an impact. Finally, remember that being silent does not mean repressing yourself or allowing others to walk over you. Speaking only when necessary is using your voice as a valuable resource, not as background noise. 4. Make silence your greatest discipline. The water that remains still at the bottom of a lake may seem weak compared to the roar of the sea waves, but it holds a serene strength that supports life and depth. This calmness is the essence of true silence. It is not emptiness, it is not passivity, it is self-control. Whoever turns silence into discipline learns not to be swept away by impulses or by the noise that surrounds them. In everyday life, keeping quiet seems simple, but it is one of the most difficult tasks to master. The desire to respond quickly, to defend oneself against criticism, to boast of achievements, or to fill spaces with unnecessary words ends up breaking the control you thought you had. Making silence your greatest discipline requires recognizing that not everything deserves your voice or your energy. There are questions that are answered with a look, provocations that are disarmed with indifference, and comments that do not deserve a reply. The first piece of advice for applying this practice is to learn to pause before speaking. Most mistakes in conversations are made due to the rush to react. When you feel the urge to respond, take a brief pause. This small gesture allows you to evaluate whether what you are about to say contributes something, or if it only comes from the impulse to have the last word. It's hard at first, but over time, it will give you the ability to respond with firmness and serenity. The second piece of advice is to create moments of voluntary silence throughout the day. It's not just about silencing others, but about silencing your mind. Dedicate a few minutes in the morning and a few at night to step away from the noise, put aside your phone, and avoid distractions. This habit will help you train control over your own thoughts and reduce the need to react to everything you hear or read. A mind that knows how to be quiet becomes less vulnerable to external provocations. Another essential aspect is to practice silence in different environments. Apply this discipline at work, with friends, on social media, and even in family discussions. Ask yourself before speaking, does this add value or just feed the noise? If it doesn't contribute anything real, let silence speak for you. Over time, people will learn to listen more attentively when you decide to express something. It's also important to learn to tolerate the void that silences leave in conversations. Many people feel uncomfortable and seek to fill it with hurried words, but silence often reveals more about others than about you. Remain firm in that calmness, because that's where you discover the true intentions of those around you. Silence also protects your energy. Each word is energy that leaves you and does not return. Therefore, save that strength for work, not for explaining. Constant and silent effort yields visible fruits, while noise only feeds empty expectations. Another useful tip is to control the emotions that often drive you to react. Anger, pride, or the desire to prove something often push you to say what you later regret. Before responding, identify the emotion trying to come out and decide if it deserves to be expressed. Mastering words is also mastering the emotions that provoke them. Finally, understand that silence does not mean weakness or submission. It is a conscious act of self-control and self-respect. It means that you choose when to speak and that your voice will be heard not for being frequent, but for being precise. 5. Let your progress be your voice. The light of a lighthouse doesn't need to announce itself. It simply shines and everyone sees it. That's how your progress should work. Silent but evident, without speeches or explanations. When the results speak for you, there is no argument that can deny them or opinion that can weaken them. Turning your progress into your true voice is an art that demands patience, constant effort, and above all, the humility of not seeking recognition prematurely. In a world that rewards appearance over real work, many feel the need to show every step they take to receive immediate approval. The problem is that this habit does not feed progress, it wears it down. The energy that should be invested in continuing to advance ends up being used to impress others. Therefore, the first advice for your progress to be your voice is to resist the temptation to show results halfway. Do not share what is not yet ready. Wait to have solid facts, not promises or drafts. The second piece of advice is to set clear and measurable goals only for yourself. Not everyone needs to know how many steps you have taken, how much you have left, or what obstacles you face. The important thing is that you know them and use them as a silent guide. This allows you to focus on real effort and not on others' expectations. It also reduces the pressure to feel that you must prove something to others at every moment. It is also crucial to learn to let time do its job. The most significant achievements do not appear overnight. They require consistency. Maintain a work pace that is sustainable and do not slow down due to a lack of immediate applause. True progress is built in silence, with daily discipline, not with posts or motivational speeches. Another important point is to use small advances as personal motivation, not as material to impress. Each step, no matter how small, is evidence that you are heading in the right direction. Acknowledge it privately. Celebrate it if necessary, but avoid turning it into a spectacle. This protects your energy and prevents others from minimizing your effort. Learn to accept that not everyone will see your growth immediately. Some will not even recognize it when it is right in front of their eyes. That's why your goal should not be to convince anyone, but to keep moving forward. Progress is noticeable in the transformation of your life, in tangible results, and in the respect you generate over time, not in the number of words you use to explain it. A practical strategy is to dedicate time to measure your own progress privately. This habit keeps you motivated and prevents you from depending on external approval to continue. Lastly, let your actions be so consistent that they do not need to be defended. Constant work speaks louder than any justification. When people see the results, they will understand the value of your silence. Words are quickly forgotten, but actions leave a mark. Let your progress be your voice means letting go of the need to impress and replacing it with a commitment to real work. It's choosing to demonstrate with results instead of explanations, to build with consistency instead of promising with words. 6. Discretion is your best shield. A wall is not always built with stones. Sometimes it is raised with prudence. Discretion is that invisible wall that keeps safe what you value, not because you hide it, but because you do not allow just anyone to have access to it. Whoever learns to be discreet does not need to raise their voice or explain themselves. They simply know how to protect what is important and show only what is necessary. In a world where everything is exhibited and shared instantly, discretion has become an act of power. Not everyone should know what you work on, what you plan, or what you dream. The more you reveal, the more doors you open for others to have opinions, judge, or interfere. The first rule of discretion is to recognize that not all information deserves to leave your inner circle. Decide what to tell, when, and to whom, and remember that once words are spoken, they cannot be taken back. The first advice to practice discretion is to stop justifying every decision. If you change course, you do not need to explain your reasons to everyone. Often people ask out of curiosity, not because they care about your well-being. Learn to answer with short phrases, "I'm working on something new," or "I prefer not to give details for now." These responses are enough to keep clear boundaries without seeming evasive. The second advice is to limit the access others have to your personal life. It's not about becoming secretive or distrustful, but about recognizing that people should only know what they really need to know. This includes what you share on social media, at work, and even with close friends. Discretion is not distrust, it is care for what belongs to you. Another key point is to have meaningful conversations only with people who have shown loyalty and respect. Talking to those who do not understand your vision or do not value your effort can become a risk, because misinterpreted information turns into criticism, rumors, or envy. Choose who you give access to your mind and your plans with the same caution with which you would choose who to give a key to your house. It is also essential to train the ability to remain silent in moments of tension. Sometimes, the pressure of a discussion makes us reveal things we would prefer to keep. Practicing calmness and breathing before responding prevents you from sharing details that could be used against you. Discretion, in this sense, is more than silence. It is self-control. A useful strategy is to observe how people react to the little you share. People who respect your discretion tend not to press or demand explanations. On the other hand, those who insist on knowing more are usually the ones who least deserve that information. Learn to take these signals as a guide to keep your circle protected. Finally, understand that discretion should not be seen as an obstacle to relationships, but as a filter that improves their quality. By sharing only what is necessary, you conserve your energy, avoid misunderstandings, and protect the essence of your projects and emotions. It's not about hiding, but about preserving what strengthens you. Discretion is your best shield because it prevents external noise from weakening your work, your peace, and your direction. 7. Listen more, reveal less. The patient hunter makes no noise in the forest because he knows that every sound scares away his prey. This is how listening works. The more you keep quiet, the more you capture what others do not see or hear. Whoever learns to listen more and reveal less not only avoids problems, but also obtains information that gives them an advantage and clarity. The words you do not say become space to better understand the environment, people, and yourself. In everyday life, we often rush to speak, as if conversations were competitions to see who says more. This impulse to constantly intervene steals the opportunity to learn from silence. Listening more is not passivity, it's strategy. It allows you to understand the true intentions behind other people's words, detect lies disguised as kindness, and perceive emotions that are not expressed with the voice. The first piece of advice to practice this attitude is to train patience during conversations. Do not interrupt or rush to respond. Let the other person express themselves to the end. Often, the most valuable thing is said after an uncomfortable pause. By keeping quiet, you give space for the other to reveal what they really think or feel. The second piece of advice is to ask questions that help to better understand, but without giving too much of yourself. Asking shows interest, but does not obligate you to share your own details. Another key point is to resist the temptation to fill silences with unnecessary words. Uncomfortable silence discomforts those who feel the need to justify or impress, but for those seeking clarity, it is an ally. Let others rush to explain, let them betray themselves with their words, while you observe calmly. Listening more also involves observing non-verbal language. Sometimes gestures, tones, and pauses say more than the entire speech. Paying attention to these details allows you to better understand situations and act more intelligently. To reveal less, start by limiting the personal information you share without reason. Not everyone needs to know what you think, what you plan, or what you feel. This practice not only makes you more reserved, it also makes you less predictable and harder to manipulate. Another recommendation is to use short and direct phrases when you need to respond. Clarity is not in the number of words, but in their precision. Say enough to be understood, but avoid giving material that others may misinterpret or use against you. Also, avoid the habit of sharing achievements or problems with anyone who will listen. Not all ears are safe, nor are all opinions worth it. Learn to differentiate between the moments when you seek advice and those when you just talk for relief. Keeping what does not need to be told is part of personal strength. Listening more and revealing less transforms relationships and the perception others have of you. They begin to see you as someone who observes, understands, and acts with purpose, not as someone who rushes to give their opinion and expose themselves. This balance between hearing and keeping quiet is a powerful tool to keep your energy focused and your life protected. One last piece of advice is to practice active silence, that in which you not only keep quiet, but pay full attention. Maintain eye contact, nod when necessary, and show genuine interest. 8. Motivate yourself in silence. The fire that burns in secret often produces the most heat. It does not need to draw attention or shine in front of others because its strength lies in the heat it keeps within. Your motivation should be the same, silent, firm, fueled from within, and not dependent on applause or the expectations of others. When you manage to motivate yourself in silence, you stop seeking external stimuli and start walking by your own conviction. Nowadays, many confuse motivation with exhibition. They post every step they take, seek encouraging comments, and measure their progress by the number of reactions they receive. This habit ends up becoming a trap, because by depending on external approval, the drive fades as soon as the applause disappears. The first piece of advice to motivate yourself in silence is to understand that true strength does not come from what others expect of you, but from what you decide to do even when no one is watching. The second piece of advice is to define clear goals that inspire you without the need to share them. Write down in a notebook what you want to achieve and the reasons why you are doing it. Having it written down, just for you, creates a commitment that is not fed by the judgment of others. Silent motivation is more stable because it is based on your own values and not on the fluctuations of public recognition. It is also important to learn to celebrate small advances in private. Every step you take deserves to be recognized, but it does not need to be shown. By celebrating in silence, you strengthen the relationship with yourself and reduce the pressure to impress others. This keeps the momentum alive and prevents external expectations from influencing your path. Another useful tip is to cultivate daily habits that reinforce your discipline. Silent motivation does not depend on momentary emotions. It is built with repeated actions that become part of your routine. Getting up early, fulfilling workouts, studying without anyone asking you to, or dedicating time to your projects, all of this feeds a progress that does not need to shout to exist. Also, learn to use challenges as internal fuel. Instead of announcing your obstacles or complaining about them, make them part of your silent story. Every difficulty overcome in silence strengthens your character and prepares you for greater achievements. To stay motivated without depending on the outside noise, avoid comparing your progress with that of others. Constant comparison steals energy and creates anxiety. Remember that your path is unique and that what is valuable is not always measured in what others can see. Focus on the quality of your effort, not on the visibility of your achievements. Finally, understand that silence does not mean isolation. You can have trusted people with whom to share your victories and stumbles, but you do not need to exhibit every step to the public. Motivating yourself in silence is learning to walk with firm steps while the world remains distracted by the noise. It is choosing to work on what matters, even when you do not receive recognition, and letting the final result speak for you. This motivation is stronger because it does not depend on factors that you do not control, and therefore does not fade when others stop looking. Also, avoid the habit of sharing achievements or problems with anyone who will listen. Not all ears are safe, and not all opinions are worth it. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment "I am Stoic" as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.